How you all doing? Good to have you. Um, it's been a while, right? The last time we were supposed to discuss, we had a serious problems with it. Thank you for joining wherever you're watching from. This is the 6th day of February 2024. This is 2 p.m. my time, 12 minutes past 2. I believe that in your respective nations, you can relate with the time. So I want to make it known to you that this is a live broadcast. This is 30 minutes past 2 my time. It's 30 minutes past 3 Biafra time. I want to welcome you guys, every one of you who are joining right now. I know some people are busy working, lots of activities going on. And at the same time, lots of stupidity going on too. We've been hearing of the killings going on, happening all around, especially conducted by the criminal in Finland and his group, and what is happening. Now, I want to ask those people who are just very. Somebody came on my Twitter and yesterday and was asking me question. I posted something regarding what is happening in the Nigeria, and the person was asking me if I'd voted. I saw the level of. I saw a handsome stupidity written, in the face of the person, even if I don't, if even if I wasn't seeing the face of the person. Sometimes we just wonder how people reason. You're asking me to vote after the stuff you have done the referendum, self-referendum, and everything that you have posted online, and after they have collected your information and data, you're coming to tell me to vote. In the first place, let me ask you a question: where is your vote going? United Nations is not involved. Everything is done on social media, and you don't think that you're stupid? You don't know you're stupid. You're just extremely stupid. Because if you're getting yourself involved in a vote that goes nowhere, which every almost anybody can conduct, I can decide to upload a vote, tab tablet or something on the internet, and I'll tell you to just go and vote for what you want. And of course, some people who believe in what they want to achieve and who think of freedom would vote. It is as simple as that. People have been conducting it. I told you about the one man who did his own last week or 2 weeks ago, or began 2 weeks ago, and he conducted last week or so. And he carried out a vote thing, and he had a very good number of people who voted. But what's next after that? That's the big question. That's the question people ask. There's a difference being an intelligent person and being a stupid person. These are two different things. Or let me say, as I always tell you guys, that it's either you are an intellectual or you are a Nigerian. These are two things. You cannot be a Nigerian and be an intellectual. You either an intellectual or a Nigerian. Now, let me tell you, being a Nigerian doesn't mean by birth, because you can be a Biafran by birth, you can be an Igbo person by birth, but an Efik person by birth, and an Ibibio person by birth, and an Ijaw person by birth, or whatever tribe you are from, you can be by birth, but you are a Nigerian because you don't reason. What does it mean to be a Nigerian? It's simple. You can't reason. So some of you are just Nigerians, even if you claim to be Biafra, and that's why you are being defrauded, you are being manipulated, you are being deceived. After so-called, the first one that happened in September last year was a so-called referendum convention, which all hopes were given to you that after that you are going to be in heaven. Then suddenly you are through with that. And now you're talking about self-referendum. What does it mean to what is the sense? Wherever have you heard self-referendum? Anybody can conduct it. That's why it's called self-referendum, because you just go do your thing. It has no significance in the affairs of international programs or international recognition and all of that. It makes no sense. So why conduct it? It makes no sense because I don't need to collect monies from you to do that. Anybody could do it on social media. Now you have contributed so much, you have paid so much, you have you know fraud. All that you can see is social media, stuff. Is it not obvious that you're a Nigerian? You just don't reason. You don't reason. You are too desperate to be free that you allow yourselves to be defrauded. And I tell you, those who always fall for scam are actually criminals. those who always fall for scam. Anytime you find somebody easily falling, being scammed and falling, they are criminals, because it is because of their desperation and wanting to get something anyhow, by crook or by anyhow, they fall. Because you can't tell me that somebody who can tell you, for instance, let me give you this instance. Somebody tells you, bring $100, you're gonna get $200 in about 45 minutes, and then you rush and put the money. You don't reason, because how can you, if that person is capable of giving you $100 in 45 minutes, why did the person come to tell you? In the first place, the person will not tell you. The person will keep on investing that $100 and getting the money for himself. Then he will get his mother, his father, his brothers, his sisters, his family members. All of you come and start taking free money. It's coming. Once you just give $100, he will share the money again to the people. Give his children $100 each. Give his parents. Invest so that you guys can be getting the monies. He will not come and tell you. For him to come on social media to tell you, oh, my friend, have you heard of this kind of investment? And come and invest in 45 minutes, you're going to get double the amount you invested. Means that he's coming to scam you. Common sense. And somebody comes on social media, what people have been doing. Now, this time around, he defrauds you further. And let me tell you, those of you who have given your information, you are as empty and as vulnerable. Let me use the word vulnerable. You're as vulnerable as the Nigeria plan against you. Those of you who have NIN, every of your detail, your information, is out there. They can access your hometown, they can access everything. So also through that, for those who now talk about Biafra, they now know those who are where they are living, all their details, and you have given them out to the criminal in Finland. Then now you are vulnerable, because whenever you rear your ugly head, you could call it ugly head. Whenever you rear your head, they're going to cut it off. They have every information about you. They know where to get. Some of you don't reason. You just do things anyhow. And somebody's coming to tell me, you voted? Can you imagine a madman coming to tell somebody who is normal to go and pull his cloth and join him in the streets, on the streets? That's crazy. I want to welcome you to this live broadcast today. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and this is, of course, Truth Channel TV. Or, of course, you know what we're doing here: the gospel and the narrative of truth. We're here preaching the gospel of truth, and I know that some people don't no more recognize this fact that we have changed the name from Biafra Global Network to the Truth Channel. Truth Channel Network. It's very fundamental. The reason why we change it is for us to have a very conscious way of passing the information to you regularly and at all times. That what we do here is to preach the narrative of truth and to give you the platform to reason in line with the gospel of truth. And whenever truth is absent, know that that generation and those people are about to be destroyed without remedy. So lots of things have been happening. I remember in 2003, when one Aminan Lawal was sentenced to death in Gombe State, in the zoo contraption, in the Hausa land. Anyways, let me call it Hausa land, because Gombe State is part of Hausa land. Because of the Sharia stuff they have over there, which some of you are still clinging on to, because you don't know that as a Nigerian, you are a Muslim or you are Islamic, because Nigeria is an Islamic. If you don't know that Nigeria is Islamic, then you are just there living your life, existing without living, because it's one thing to exist, just existing, but you are not living, because living is fulfilling. When you are living, you are fulfilling, but when you are existing, you are only present, signifying nothing. You are signifying nothing, because you are just living without content. That's what it means to exist. You know, even in the sense of existing, there's still a way you can exist to live. And of course, you can also exist without living. Your life. And Amina Lawal was sentenced to death, and hopefully, somehow she was restored, and she got her stuff back. But the truth about it is that as long as you keep allowing these guys who are defrauding you to continue to hold you in to ransom, you are sustaining the Nigeria narrative, and that's the truth. As long as you keep allowing them to defraud you, you are sustaining the Nigeria narrative. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. Now, I want to tell you something about what is happening right now. We have what is going on in Biafra land right now creating unnecessary tension by the criminal and his gang just to have something he's going to post on social media and to make you excited so that every weekend you come to contribute. Every time he sends his boys to go and kill somebody, whether a policeman or a soldier or somebody somewhere in a community where they are, after killing the soldier or the police, they will run away and go and hide. And then the soldiers will go and they go round to the barracks and everywhere, and they will recruit more, and mobilize, come around and kill the young people in that community. And they do this in communities where they know that they don't have support. They do this in communities, and most of you who are on social media just jubilating. And I mean, I don't know the rationale behind your jubilation, because you actually don't understand the criticalness of the situation you're in. Our young men are dying. Our young men who would fight our battle, who are going to carry arms, who are going to fight the war when it comes, when the time comes. Our young men are dying. And courtesy these criminals being sponsored by the Nigeria contraption, fronting as if they are fighting for your freedom. They take their men, the so-called Liberation Army, whatever they call it, whatever name they give it, their militia group, they are all militia groups. They go to a community where they know that people are not in support of them. People are not consciously supporting them. They go there, they attack a policeman, they attack a military person, attack their convoy or their vehicles, not even their convoy, their vehicles, parked and all those stuff around that place, and kill them. And after killing them, they go away. They don't stay in those areas. They go away. After going away, they leave the young men in that community to be vulnerable, leave them vulnerable. So the military people, the police people go back to their barracks, and they recruit their, I mean, they mobilize, sorry, not recruit now, they mobilize and return. And all they do is they start killing the young men communities, taking some of them away, harvesting their organs, and then depleting the number of our young men who will stand in the days that are coming, the days of the real battle. And some of you don't understand this. And you keep cheaply, stupidly funding the criminal, allowing him to continue in these atrocities that are going on. In the first place, when someone looks at Mazen Namdekano and tells him that he's a criminal, that person, you should know that that person does not have the right mind for what is happening. And for anybody to look at IPOB and say IPOB is a criminal gang or group, or an organization that is criminal, that person is saying to the face of Mazen Namdekano that he's a criminal. And that person is telling the Nigeria contraption that they can do whatever they want to do because he is a criminal. That's what it means. It's common sense. If you come to my office, my company or my organization, and say this organization, I know this organization is a criminal organization, you are indirectly or directly indicting me, indicting the workers, everyone there. And so when an arrest is going to be made, everyone who is found in that office will be arrested. They feel they're into criminal law and business, and then they will all be interrogated and then charged. So this is how it goes. So if you understand this, then you should be very, very careful how you. That tells you he knows consciously what he was saying. He knows consciously what he was doing, what he is doing. And currently, again, yesterday he still posted it that he's that IPO is a criminal organization. These are statements clearly showing that this criminal and this person is working against the leadership and all of that. And some of you are still busy following and constituting nuisance everywhere and being stupid. Some of you are just very stupid. A few days ago, there was this football match, sorry, match, not march, a match that took place between um, Nigeria and is it what's the I've forgotten the nation anyways. I think it's I can't remember anyways. But anyways, this guy scored the ball, the goal, a goal, a very unique goal. That is Lukman. And when he scored that goal, um, that goal was worked out by somebody called Simon Moses. You know what I'm talking about. And then Tony Elumelu was in his house with his family, celebrating and saying, "God bless Simon. God bless Simon." And then the criminal in Finland takes it and then pastes it on his platform, post the video, wrote a comment there, and said instead of him to come out straight, he is going indirect, trying to, because he knows that his followers are daft, empty, and they don't reason properly. Whatever he tells them, they would always jubilate around. And then he he tells them that this man is trying to talk about Simon Ekpa, whereas it was just a football game, and somebody's in his sitting room praising him, praising this Simon Moses that scored a goal. And he is now saying, or indirectly making his people believe, anything that happens in the disruption is always, attributed to himself. That's what he does. Once there's a statement from the military angle, he attributes it to himself that it is because of his action that this is happening. Once there is an action somewhere, he attributes it to himself that this is happening. Once there's something that is, taking place somewhere, he attributes it to himself. And you begin to wonder how you because he's loud on social media, because everything the people he's calling his liberation stuff and whatever he calls them are too little to cause any kind of. The only thing they can do is what they're doing now: kidnap and run away, kill and run away. That's what they do, putting communities in danger and looking for content for their social media broadcast, and then raise funds. Because when they do that, they come and tell you that stuff has happened somewhere, and then you will jubilate, and then they'll tell you on Saturday it's fundraising, and you will be happy, you will come. Now, the critical thing here is that even in the midst of this whole thing, the people that are being killed are also Biafrans who are in the police and all of that. Some of them are working, and some of them are even there. They still secure their own people and concerned about their own people. They're just there for their work to feed their families and all of that. And yet, they still go around attacking these people. And these are people who will still come to the defense of their own people when the time comes. Because the time will come when they would just cut off. It happened during the genocidal war against Biafra in 1967. The people, the Biafrans who were in the Nigerian military and all of that, withdrew and came to the side of their people. So there is always a time for that kind of stuff. It will come to the time and it will be a program thing. But when you go around and start killing the people in the context of the job description they are carrying out at that particular time, and then it's dicey here because of course we know that some of our people are in that contraption stuff, fighting against their people really and trying to doing all it takes, to make sure they get their people down. Yes, we know understand that, but the only way to deal with that is to go and target the real people who are fronting this, especially those ones who are the politicians. Those are the people that any reasonable and any serious person who has decided to take up arms and set the Liberation Army and all of that will do. The first thing you do is to target those who are making policies, making the rules, implementing their corrupt programs and plans. When you go after them, they would now begin to seek for solutions. And that is when you have really affected the whole system. But when what you do becomes targeted at the poor, at the people who are struggling, at the people who are going through hell and all of that, then that critically becomes an error. That critically becomes an error. A friend of mine sent me a message this afternoon and said a bag of rice is now 70,000 naira. And I was just saying, wow, that's interesting. Anyways, things are expensive everywhere, but the way it's climbing in the zoo, something else. Well, it is part of what Nigeria represents because Nigeria is a system of criminality. It is you can't. There's nothing. Somebody was saying this nation called Nigeria. I said, come, you don't. How can you? What is a nation? A nation is a group of people with common ties. Nationhood. That means they have something in common. Common ties. How do you define Nigeria as a nation? No, you can't because they don't have common ties. What are the common ties? Common ties are things like culture, language, religion, and all of that. It's a common ties, especially basically related to culture and traditions. When you jumble different people, different languages, and different cultural disposition, and different behavioral understanding, and different traditional operations, and very different and very contrary cultural background, when you jumble them, there will be a clash. There will be it will be massively devastating because you know why? I know how I operate in my culture. You know how you operate in your culture. Now you know how you operate in your culture. I know how I operate in my culture. And in my own way, I am educated to believe that my culture should be sustained. And the other person also is educated to believe in their culture and that their culture to be sustained. Now, it's now very when the other person is now religiously demoralized. That means they have been brainwashed, to see violence as a way of getting rid of you because of your culture. They want to get rid of you. They want to get rid of your culture. They want to get rid of everything that is, about you because they believe that you shouldn't exist, and whatever is about you shouldn't exist. They said you must take what they are doing, and whether you take what they are doing or you go for it. And so when you begin to live with such kind of person in a particular room, it's just like a man living with a woman in a house as married. And this marriage was not because they love each other, but because either families or something brought them together. Maybe, somehow they just found themselves compulsorily, you must marry. And the man has contrary views about life. The wife has contrary views about life. They of them have their own plan of life and what they want to achieve differently. And then the man, develops this hatred so much, or the woman develops this hatred so much for the man, or the man develops this hatred for the woman so much because in the first place we didn't come to a consensus, or we didn't come into agreement to get married. We are not compatible because compatibility is the bedrock for every marriage, even if you have to compromise in some other things some other times, because compromise in the sense of marriage has to do well on the basis of compatibility. I know some people might not understand this, but compatibility means that you have a common interest in your future together, a common understanding, and it has brooded and breeded this friendship between you. Now, if this man and this woman are living in a particular house as married, forced marriage, and then there's this hatred, and the other spouse is so hateful and could do anything the other one, living in the house continuously makes that anger to increase because even in the Bible it is said that don't seldom step your foot into the house of your neighbor. Even if the person is your neighbor, you can be friends as neighbors and all of that, and the friendship is strong. But when you regularly go into to their house, they become tired of you one time. When you are always there, they just get tired of you, not because they hate you, but because they just feel that please give me a breathing space, man. Just allow me some time, you know. But when you are able to understand that once a while, even they'll be missing you, they say, my friend, you don't even come to check me. You didn't check on me for the past 1 week. Because, oh, I'm sorry, it's just that I'm busy, blah, blah. That friendship becomes stronger and stronger. But now consider that you are now having someone who is your enemy living in the same house with you. And every morning you wake up, you see this friend, you see this particular spouse, you see this particular partner always with you in the same house, always. That is tantamount to it is doom looming around, because at a point this person will get so fed up and want to take down the other person and want to get that person off. And that is why you see sometimes you see a married man, I mean a man and a woman living in a house, and then they get so bitter with each other, fighting every time and lots of things. And before you know it, one day the other man some stuff, or the woman picks some stuff and stabs the man, or something happens and someone is dead. You begin to wonder, how did she get this, or how did he get this kind of courage to kill? No, it is not courage. It's actually built. It was built over time, because the hate itself needs consistency to become monstrous. It's just like when you have a baby. You need the baby to be alive continually to grow. Everything grows as long as they're alive. So when that togetherness is still happening in that particular house, that means there is a consistency. And once there is consistency, there's a pattern that takes you, into extremes. Especially when there's this dichotomy, and or this, or let me not use the word dichotomy. Maybe there's this unfriendliness, contrary views and contrary positions. It becomes very dangerous. That is what is happening in the zoo, in the contraption called Nigeria. That zoo. What is happening is that you have brought different people who are not compatible together, and some of them having extreme belief of getting rid of the other person, and have been made to believe that by their religious mindset. Anything that is tied to religion is capable of anything. You have to understand this. Anything that is connected or designed or programmed in the narrative of religion is capable of disaster. Is capable of disaster. Because let me tell you why I use the word disaster. I'm not talking about the other part of it. Now, religion is a makeup of man. When you say you are, there's a difference being a Christian and also being a religious Christian, because these are two different things. Now, the Christians were called, the followers of Christ were called Christians first in Antioch, and Romans chapter, sorry, in Acts chapter 5 or so, I can remember now. They were called Christians, not because they actually were religious, no, but because they were behaving similar like their master, like Christ. The Christ just died and rose and left then. And so they still remember the lifestyle of Christ and the way he behaved. And they saw the apostles, they discovered that the apostles had similar behavior, behaving like all of the time. Remember, Jesus was still alive when he was with his disciples, and every time they go together, there was this consistency and all of that. There was this consistency and all of that. And this and all of that seemed to be very, very um, you know, um, you know, there's this consistency and this you know that seem to be, you know um, be among his people, his followers and his disciples and all of that. There's this togetherness, uniqueness and all of that, and that there's this bond that made them together so that they can, you know they actually had this. Sorry, I was distracted because of there was someone came in. I'm just in the office anyway, so um so someone came in that distracted me, so I'm sorry about the distraction. There was a distraction, so sorry about that. So there's this togetherness that Christ had with his followers that even the Pharisees and other people couldn't identify. And when they couldn't identify, what happened was this: they needed somebody to actually prove to them who the Christ really was, or who the one they're looking for really was. And that was why they contracted Judas. And Judas said, the one I kiss is the one. So he was identified by a betrayer. That means when people are together, the only thing that can take them down is when there's a betrayal, especially when they are together in oneness. They can't be taken down. And so the religion gives a perspective of evil because religion is a program designed by people to control people. People don't understand the difference between being, being Christ, being of Christ, and being religious. Most of the places we have today, the religious houses and all of that, all religious houses. And every of their doctrines and all that are designed not because that is how Christ ordained it, or that is how yes, I use Christ because I'm a Christian, so I won't be talking about the other religions, of course, but because the people came through generations from the Roman Empire and all of that, and they grew to the point where you know, they sorry, please give me one moment. Sorry about that, please, people. I just needed to clarify something. So, um, because religion gives some people the ability to control people. Ask yourself this question: when the colonial masters came in, why were they able to control the people? Why were they able to control Africans? Simple. They brought in a religion. Came in with the idea of religion before Christianity came in. Remember when Islam was spreading in the other nations? They someone like Osman Danfodio in Sokoto came into Sokoto then. I mean, sorry, in Gobert, not Sokoto then. The name was Gobert Hausa Kingdom. He came in, and the strategy he utilized then to get the people to love him and to like him was, first, he became social. He socialized with the people in the narrative or in the concept of his religion. When he began socializing, he now began to introduce religion. Now, socializing will make them your friend. Religion will make them your subjects. That's what religion does. Because religion is coined to keep people bound. Because the sentiment under religion is always God. When you tell people that God is in this, they tend to lose their guard. Because when you say God, they feel that they have to obey, they have to respond. Because God, that word God seemed like, hey, the person who created me is in charge here, and all of that. And the person who is, you know, and so religion is always centered around that God narrative. And that God narrative becomes the real and the very program for the control sentimentally of people. So that is why you see that the life of Christ and the doctrine of Christ has become religiously designed to control people. That is why someone can tell you today that if you don't pay your tithe, you're going to hell. And people believe because they just make you believe based on the fact that tithe is mentioned in scripture. They never told you the reason why tithe was mentioned in scripture and the purpose, but they coined it to make me for their own benefits, to mean that when you don't pay, you're going to hell. And because it has to do with God and hell, people would respond. So religion becomes a very strong, and that is why it is not possible for you to restore Nigeria. Those of you who are thinking, who the more Nigeria gets worse, the more you think that you are going to be saved, and somehow, because I saw a particular somebody was telling me about a prayer, um, one of the general overseers, especially one of the big ministries. I think it's the biggest in Nigeria anyway. So even all over the world is there, and the general overseer was saying something and he prayed. He was saying he was making his New Year, prayers. I mean, prophetic. All they want to do is they want to say something so that during the year they will say, it was what I said that happened, and they said that he made a prophecy and he said that he said some stuff. Prophecy, to prophesy means to speak, but what you're going to speak right now should be things that would come to pass based on not predictions, because prediction means that there is a likelihood of understanding what is going to happen based on what is on ground. But prophecy goes beyond that because there's no sign and evidence of what is going to happen. But you say these things and they really come to happen. They really come to happen. So now he was saying something. He said, this year, he was talking about it in 31st night, their program in their ministry. And he said something like, this year, something is going to happen. and things are going to happen. Things are going to. But he now made a prophecy that people now got very. Some people got very irritated about it and all of that, and reactions everywhere. Because of course, looking at it is prediction. Because you know that definitely we are in a system. There's war in Gaza. There's war. Israel is fighting. Ukraine is fighting. Russia is fighting. There's disaster everywhere. Things happening everywhere. So definitely, you know that the world is going to get worse. Things are going to get worse because now, as at December, the Houthi rebels were also attacking sheep on the Red Sea. The Hezbollah was attacking Israel from Rama, I mean Rafah, sorry, and from that Gaza Strip end, or is it the West Bank area and all of that, or something. I think there were these attacks. So definitely it was going to get worse because it was like Israel has said they are not going to let down. They are going to make sure they level Hamas, and Houthis say they will not stop until Israel stops. So definitely Israel said they are not going to stop, and they're not going to stop. So which means that Houthis will. So anybody who is coming to make a prophecy is only making a prediction because definitely things are going to get worse in 2024. It's normal. It's not rocket science, common sense. But of course, as religious leaders, their people have lost their brains because when as religious leaders, what you need to do is to learn how to make the people suspend their ability to reason. So with your own brain. Whatever you say, that's what they jubilate over. Their own brain gets suspended because they believe that you are the one who speaks with God. You are the one who see God, and they don't see God. They don't get hear from God. You have to say what they have to say. You have to say for them to know what to do in their life, and that is what it is. So he was trying to prophesy, and knowing that everything he's going to say is going to be predictions. Then the next thing he said that things are going to get tough, and then he now said something that your neighbors will borrow from you, and people shouted amen. Now, my big question here is I want to ask you guys this question from that particular prophecy because when I was being told this afternoon, this morning also, I was being told this by someone, and I was wondering, how can you tell me my neighbors are going to borrow from me? What if my neighbors, half of them are people who attend the same ministry with me and are in your ministry? Are you saying that, let's say, five of us are neighbors and all of us attend your ministry? Are you saying that there's a declaration here that four of us or some of us will go poor so that one person or two persons there will be blessed and be borrowing from the other person? Does it make sense? Because if you say my neighbor is going to, but definitely my neighbor might be somebody who is in the same ministry with me. That means you are declaring one set of you people poor and the other set of people to have something to give to the poor. That means your prophecy is watering. There was no consideration of all of those facts. There was no consideration. There was no consideration. The same thing they upload regularly, the same thing they keep saying every year. Once it's 31st night, they keep saying the same things because definitely there will be poor people. You can't stop it. It has been there from right from time. There must be the poor, there must be the middle, there must be the rich. Even in scripture, they say Christ was saying something, and scripture even before Christ even came, Moses and all of that, there were this tithing thing. Some of you don't even understand why tithing was even instituted. Let me give you a brief history. If you go to scripture and study this stuff, tithing was instituted because when God was told Israel to get into the land, when Joshua took them and they defeated the Jericho and other parts and the Canaanites and all of that, God told them that the land should be shared among the tribes, but only the Levite tribe should not have a possession. That the Levite tribe should serve him in the temple they're going to build and serve him in the midst of the nations. That means the tribe of amongst the people, they are not going to do any job. They're not going to do anything. All they will do is they'll be there and others will feed them. So what the people did then, they brought their crops, not money. They brought their crops. They bring their crops, they gather their crops. Every year, God tells them, as soon as you get your harvest, send the crop to the place. The priests who are from the tribe of the Levites will first take their portion. And then after taking their portion and sharing to other priests and all of that, the high priest takes his portion and the priests take their own portion. And then the rest will be shared to the poor. If there's any remainder, it is kept in the storehouse. And then when as much as poor come or there's someone who is in need, it is given to them. That was the purpose of the tithing. So the people brought 1/10 of what they had. In fact, there was a time when they didn't have the ability to give their crops and their plants and all of that as tithe. They had to sell and and sell and all of that, sell that stuff. And that particular time, God said, "Okay, now this that you have gathered, you are still going to use them when you get to where you're going. Buy crops, and that is what you are going to offer." So it was a program for sustenance of the Levites, not a program for somebody to tell you that if you don't do it, you're going to hell. It was a particular program for a reason. That is why you must understand scripture and Bible. You read it. Why was tithing instituted? It was instituted to preserve a tribe, the Levites, who were not given possession amongst the people. When Christ came and the disciples were doing stuff, they never collected. When church started, there was nothing like tithing. What the early church did was when they come together, they sell their properties, or they bring their things together and they share amongst themselves. It was not tithing. People were given. People will say, "Okay, I'll sell my land. I'll bring the money. Those who don't have in this place, we give them. Those who are poor, we give them. Those who are this, we give them." That was what they were doing. That was why you had the story of Ananias and Sapphira. What happened? They promised to give all. When they sell, they'll bring the whole money to the temple so that they can share amongst everybody. But they now hear out of it. And it was like, "Hey, you are going to give all, and you kept some. God handled them." So there was no tithing. The early church never went into tithing. But now we have criminals everywhere, religious people who have designed the narrative and the concept, manipulating the people to think that their tithing is what sustains. How many people have got rich? How many people have you heard got rich because they pay tithe? In fact, let me ask you the question. All these people like Bill Gates and all of that, who are the world's richest men, did you hear that they tithe? They don't pay tithe. Some of them are not even Christians. They don't even believe in God. But they are the world's richest men. Why is it that those ones who are Christians who claim to be paying tithe 100% or 10% they don't miss it? Why are they not? Why didn't they become the world richest people? You think wealth is by giving tithe? Wealth is by creativity and having ideas. And these things come from ability to storm your brain and to tap into the realm of the spirit to understand the problems in the society and to create a solution to it. That's what it is. That's how wealth comes. So you don't sit somewhere and be paying tithe. Some of them will tell you, once the year begins, your first salary, you should bring it to them. This broadcast is not about religious stuff anyways, but I needed to say all of this stuff because it's very, very important for me to. I'm just trying to analyze what is happening to our people now and how our people are reasoning. Now you see the devastation you see now in Kenya. That now the funny thing here now is that the people are suffering. Things have gone now. Look at the dollar now. The dollar that used to be as at when the new dispensation came in, as at 2000 and May 2023, the dollar was around 400, 500 or so, naira to a dollar. Now the dollar is 1,600. You can imagine the offshoot. That's over how many percent increase? About 300% increase or 200% increase, 200 point something increase. That's crazy. That's crazy. And now, what surprised me is that the same religious leaders are saying something. You see, religion is a very dangerous weapon. When it gets you, you are done for. When you allow yourself to be controlled by religious people, you are done for. I saw one of the religious. I think I posted it yesterday, and I wrote something. Some people were going to say, "Why are you this man? This powerful man of God is whom you are talking about like this." Who is powerful? Who is not a powerful man of God? Is there anybody who is not powerful? Once you are God's son, you are God's son. Unless you don't believe you are God's son, nobody is more powerful than you, who is God's son. So if you don't know your place in God, then you don't know your place at all. Nobody can stand in my place. Nobody can pray for me. Nobody can do anything on my behalf. I don't even allow people lay hands on my head. And I don't try to lay my hands on people's head because you know why? You don't even know the spirit they carry. They claim, all they claim is they are their pastors and all of that. But sometimes you don't know what they carry. That doesn't mean that people cannot pray and you say amen. People can pray and say amen anyways. But the truth about it is that you should be able to hear from God yourself. If God cannot speak to you, then what God are you serving? How can you serve someone who doesn't talk to you? It doesn't make sense. You speak to somebody who talks to you. If he wants to talk to you, let him talk to you in your mind or and all of that. Now he said something. He said that the Nigerians should cry. Nigerians should cry to God for the dollar and for the naira that is depreciating. And I begin to wonder. Israel is fighting its war now. We in Africa, we call on the God of Israel. But Israel is fighting the enemy directly. they're creating weapons, war, and they're creating. I mean, they are building bombs and building some stuff, ammunition and all that, facing the enemies. We are crying to the God of Israel. So, who is the God of Israel that permits Israel to pick up weapons and fight their battle? And we sit down expecting the God of Israel to fight for us. How? So he doesn't love Israel, and he's the God of Israel. He doesn't love them. They have to fight their war. And you are sitting down somewhere, crossing your leg, expecting the God of that Israel that has allowed Israel and say, Israel, pick up your weapons and fight. To fight for you. Are you not stupid? Does it not show that you're stupid? Now he's telling you now that God, people should cry to God when other nations, when they have inflation and all of that, or currency depreciation and all these economic problems. What they do is they sit together with their economists and their professionals and their strategists to see how they can put their economy together. And somebody who is a religious leader is telling you that just to relax and just call on God to come and God should come and be your central bank governor. So you want to employ God now to come and sit down in your central bank and then sit people down. This is how you are going to run the economy. Why are we jokers, for God's sake, in Africa? What's wrong? I was talking with somebody on Saturday. We were discussing business, and then we went into political issues and economic issues. And I was saying something critical. And I said that we have, so of course, most of you we know, we have so much resources in Africa, including the land. It's a very much needed resource in other parts of the world. We have so much, even human resources. We have intelligent and brilliant people, creators who just need opportunity for them to be invested in, and then they're going to do marvelous things. But yet, we are begging those who are coming to take what is ours to give to us. How can people have crude oil and what they do is they sell crude oil when they could actually process it and sell the finished product? We have cocoa. These people come into our land, take our cocoa, go to their land, process it, give us chocolate, and bring it back to us. And we are buying it at a very high price. And when they come to take your cocoa, they take it at a very low price. What is wrong with us? Is- Even if it's a curse, there are sometimes you come to a point, tell yourself, this curse no go work again. I don't understand. I don't understand. Now, even as much as things are getting worse, did you know that some people are still saying that it will be good very soon? Let's just keep to make sure that Nigeria doesn't break and things will be fine. How? You are in a room with strangers, people who want to kill you. No Fulani man will see you and not cut your head. They'll cut your head. And to, as Nigerians, make them have access to your land. Make them have access to your land. Because as Nigeria, you cannot stop them from entering your territory because you are all Nigerians. Now, some people don't understand the complexities of the reason why the only thing that will save anybody in that contraption called Nigeria is freedom. The only thing that can save you people, especially those of you who don't understand the game plan of the Fulanis and the Islamic nations who are sponsoring them. Sorry, I'm trying to put on my power stuff. You know, some of you don't understand the game plan. If you understand the game plan, you will know. Let me tell you what sovereignty does for you. Let me tell you what sovereignty does for you. Sovereignty gives you the ability to control your territory, especially the boundaries. That's what sovereignty does for you. So when you have your boundaries under control, you tend to have ability to keep yourself in check and keep in check those who are. For instance, if you build a house, let me give this analogy because I'll be rounding off soon. If you build a house, when you buy a land, that portion you have bought is yours, right? You always put, a landmark stuff or something to show that this particular portion belongs to you. right? That's what you do. Now, when you want to build your fence, you build your fence on the that's on the line, the right demarcation, showing that this territory is under your control. Now, after building fencing it, you put your electric fence or your any other kind of protection that you need. And then at the entrance and exit, you put a security man if you have the money, or you put security measures like gates and all of that. Then when you're going out, you lock it. When you're coming in, you lock it. You make sure security conscious. You are trying to be security conscious. That means that everything inside of that fenced area belongs to you. To protect and preserve everything inside that fenced area, you need that gate or the security man there, right? Now, which means that coming outside of the fence, your attacker can attack you if there's an attacker. But when you go into the fence and lock up, you shield yourself to an extent from, or your security man locks the gate and stays at the gate. He shields you from the attack that can come, right? Now, let me tell you what that means. For instance, let's look at the Igbo nation. Now, right now, you don't have control of your territory. You know why? Because you are not sovereign. You don't have you're not a nation of your own. That is why you cannot put a fence or security measure in your land and territory. So what happens is that any Fulani man, killers, and all of that can enter your territory because you are not secured. And as killers and terrorists that they are, they would enter your land because you don't have a security measure. If you had a security measure, you would have fenced your land. Or what we mean by fencing is that you have your border, and then your military, your immigration, and all the border. So anybody who is entering, they will check the person. If the person is carrying arms, ammunition, or whatever they're carrying, they will check them there. And your military are serving as your security men. They will stop them before they enter into the land to attack you. So, as being under that contraption, that Nigeria structure, you cannot stop the Fulanis or the terrorists from entering your land because you are under that name Nigeria. And Nigeria is controlled by them. So, which means that in your Igbo land, in your Oduduwa land, in your whatever land it is, Ibibio land, Ijo land, whatever you call it, you cannot stop because Nigeria will tell you, why are you fencing that place? That place is not yours. It belongs to Nigeria. But when you have your own freedom, you can set your own men at your entrance of your land and they will stop the enemies before they come against you. That is the fundamental of sovereignty. It is only when you are secure that you can now have to sit with your children in your sitting room and watch Netflix or watch whatever you want to watch. It is only when you are secure that you can have your wife or you or anybody or your children cook in the kitchen. If criminals enter into your compound, would you be staying in the kitchen cooking or sitting crossing your leg in the sitting room? No, because they have penetrated your land, they have penetrated your territory. So you are in danger. That means they overwhelmed your security man, broke through your fence or your gates, or all of that, entered. That means you're in danger. But when you are secure, you have electric fence and you have a strong security, you know that yes, I can relax with my family now. And then that is when you can look at your children's homework, help them with their homework. That is when you can look at the needs of the family and look at it and discuss with your wife what you need to do, the plans you guys need to, and then discuss with your children what they need and all of that, and plan for the next day. You can never talk about development until you have security. Security. So those of you who are thinking that you're going to have a developed land or you're going to be developed, you are wasting your time because you need that security to now sit down and relax to do what you have to do. That's what you need. And that is why when it comes to anything freedom, you have to be careful the people you look up to. You have to be careful the people you look up to. you have to be careful the people you follow, the people you relate with. You have to be careful. Those of you who are following the criminal in Finland, I pity you. You have given out your information and you are believing in a lie. You just want things to be real. You just want to see yourself in a you just want you are imagining freedom and you just want to feel that you are entering freedom. Some of you, it's out of the frustration of what is happening in the contraption or wherever you are living all over the nations of the world. Because of course, when you are living in UK, wherever you are living all over the nations of the world, it can never be like home. They would never treat you like you are part of them. No, they will always mess you up. Because you know why? You are not part of their land. So even if you're in the US and you're making money, they will tax you. You make money, they will collect it by tax. The little that you have, we want to send, they will still collect tax from it. So you are working to sustain their land, and then you're only getting crumbs back to yourself. And you will work your ass out because you will work morning, afternoon, night shift. You work like a jockey. But in your land, you are free. You can relate. You can stand for your rights. Nobody will come and tell you that, hey, you nigger. No, nobody will tell you that. You know what nigger means? That means you black monkey, nigger, cursed one. That's what it means. It's a derogatory word, nigger. That's what they call you, even if they don't say it out. They look at you. Sometimes that's why you see that some of them in abroad, they look at you, they feel like bringing out a gun and shooting you because they believe you leave your land, you refuse to build up your land, you come to somebody else's land, you want to become great. Look at what they did to foreigners in South Africa. South Africans are just dealing with foreigners. Once you commit a crime, they treat you differently from how they treat their own people. They treat you anyhow. In fact, they are quick to kill you. Because you know why? Your land is important. So why take it for granted? Why take your freedom for granted? Some of you are feeling this frustration in the land where you live because you're not in your land. And some of you in your land are feeling frustrated. So you just wish that you are free. And then you fall victim to criminals. That is why some of you are there busy jubilating because you are putting your name on a social media platform where a particular details where details are collected, from you, and you think you are getting free. The same person told you that, and if Azuke couldn't do it, how do you expect him to do it? And the same person is telling you that he wants to give it to you, and you are there. I don't know the color of your madness or the design of your stupidity. It must be very complex. It must be like amoeba. Amoeba is shapeless. Amoeba is shapeless. Some of us, stupidity is so shapeless because you don't know how to hold it. Somebody tells you Ojukwu couldn't do it, Wazukre couldn't do it. How do you expect him to do it? Because someone asked him a simple question last year, Truth TV, are we going to get it this year? He got angry and said, if Ojukwu couldn't do it and Wazukre couldn't do it, how can I give it to you? And now he's telling you that he's going to give it to you. When just 2 months ago he told you that if this one couldn't give it to you, how can he give it to you? Your madness is colorless and your stupidity is shapeless. Amoeba. Some people call it amoeba. It's not amoeba, amoeba. It's shapeless. That is why you are being defrauded. You better see how serious your freedom is. Understand how serious your freedom is. And take it seriously. Because the truth about it is that when something is of value, it attracts criminals. You don't know that? Go and put honey somewhere. Sorry, sugar. Put sugar somewhere. It will attract ants. Take a bundle of money, keep somewhere. That's when you know that some people are not safe. They are not born again. Let a bundle of money fall from your bag. Even some people who are carrying Bible walking on the streets. That's when you know that the thing will fall. They will first look around, see that nobody's seeing it. They will not tell you. They will pick it. They will take off. Thank you, Father, for providing. That's what you hear. Take a gold or something that is important. Wake up at maybe just go somewhere where where you are isolated. You see whether you'll not be robbed. Every valuable thing attracts criminals, attracts attention. And when criminals see it, they get attracted. That is why freedom is so attractive to criminals. That's why it is easy to see those who would defraud you claiming to want to give you freedom. So the only way you can get it is to come together on a platform where nobody seems to be in charge and control, because they will take advantage of you. That's what they're doing to you now. Nobody's in control, nobody's in charge. That is the platform. And that is what we stand for. We all come together. The accountability and transparency group we started was for people to come. It's going to be very strong. It's going to be powerful. Some of you are just there. I just look at some people who send some messages and I just laugh. We come together. Nobody is going to claim that I am the leader. No. You all have your ideas. You bring it together. You plan. I tell you that we can get our freedom without any difficulty. Just ideas. Very easy, but it's going to be challenging, but easy. Now, when something is easy, it doesn't mean it's not going to be challenging. No, 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 no. It is easy because you know how it will end. You know the solution. You know how you know the process. You are ahead of the enemy. You are ahead of the circumstance. You are ahead of the hurdles. You know what hurdle it will be. You know your plan to defeat the hurdle and all of that. So it is challenging but easy, because what rules and controls is ideas. That's what it is. That's what you guys have to understand. I know that some people don't know that we have changed the name of this channel. So when they see this channel, they don't know that it has changed. Anyways, but with time, people are going to get understanding of this and we're going to flow on that level. I want to thank you guys very, very well on this platform of truth. I want to appreciate you guys. I've taken 1 hour. I thought I was just going to do a 30-minute stuff, but there are so many things to talk about, especially in the narrative of the things that are happening all around us. More things are happening, and I'll keep updating us and talking about them. Critically, I'll be going deeper into facts and some things that are basic and important to us, so that we can understand these things in the light of the truth that Mazinam kind of preached and of which we stand for, and then know how to convert the whole things around us and the circumstances around us in utilizing them as our weapon for innovative solutions. Because innovation comes by acknowledging and understanding the current solution of a particular order and the challenge that particular solution faces, so that the next phase of action will be better to give you a better result. And then that is how it goes. Because whenever there's an innovation, then innovation breeds innovation. It continues in that light, because there's a need for continuum. It continues in that light. I want to thank you. Please share this broadcast on all your social media platforms, and also subscribe to this channel if you have not. Truth Channel Network. Subscribe to it if you have not. Anytime the name comes, you just know what we stand for. That is why we changed it from Biafra Global Network to Truth Channel Network. Then it's just flashes. When you just hear Truth Channel, you know that you are coming to a place where you are going to get the truth of the whole thing. So enjoy the rest of your day. This is 16 minutes past 4 p.m. Biafra time. In my time, is 16 minutes past 3 p.m. I want to thank you. Today is Tuesday, the 6th day of February 2024. And stay cool. And God bless you.